So, yeah, I mean, let's pivot into talking about the upcoming game, Patriots' expectations for the season opener. Mike, you and I spoke pretty extensively about it last week, about our potentially flagging expectations about the season over the last couple weeks. So, Sean, I'll give you the opportunity to kind of get us started off, especially somebody who's been down there a bit. What what are your expectations for Patriots opener against the Las Vegas Raiders?
Well, in terms of like overall expectations too, if I can kind of start there, like I'm not seeing 10 or 11 wins. I think it's going to be an improved team and everything like that, but I think if they get 7 or 8 wins, I think that's a pretty good place to start. So I would go with something in terms of overall record like 8-9 or something like that. In terms of this week specifically, I think Christian Gonzalez not being out there, I think he didn't practice on Wednesday. Yeah, he didn't practice Wednesday. He hasn't practiced in 5 weeks at this point. So I think it's pretty fair to assume that he's not going to be out there. Mike Vrabel was asked about it on Wednesday and said he wasn't going to rule him out, but the reality is he hasn't practiced in 5 weeks. So I think that just changes up quite a bit for them. So I think, when it comes to, Josh McDaniels and, getting the offense ready and everything like that, I think there's going to be something to that. I think it's going to be an improved product, on Sunday in week one, right out of the gate. But I'm not overly optimistic when it comes to, Will Campbell or Morgan Moses, who has played very sparingly throughout the preseason, being able to protect against and block Max Crosby. So I think there is something to it. I think that the Patriots are probably going to lose the game. In terms of score, I don't know exactly that, but I think it's going to be kind of a slow build. But missing your best player in week one, I don't think is a great start to that.
There should probably be a parade if they go 8-9. Um,
I think that's like cautiously optimistic between some of these expectations and records being thrown out. I mean, people are talking like 9, 10 wins, 11 wins.
well, I don't
I
know
think
if
that's crazy.
I mean, I'm sure you did catch last week's episode, but my developing take is that I feel worse about them by the day,
Yeah,
and maybe I bit in too much to the hype to begin with. The schedule certainly added to that. The schedule, when it first came out, looked horrible. As it gets closer and closer, and you start, analyzing everything involved, I actually think the schedule is a little more difficult than it seemed when it was first released. Um, and then, you know, they just don't have any depth. They have
yeah,
no depth whatsoever. So yeah, when there's injuries, like especially to your best players, like Christian Gonzalez, it's hard to feel good about the direction in which they're going. And like
hmm
this week specifically, I still don't think they just got rid of, Jabril Peppers. Like I think they're gonna have trouble, slowing down tight ends all season long. And here comes Brock Bowers, arguably the best tight
yeah,
end in the entire league, and he's gonna torch you for 2 touchdowns this week. Um, and like the Peppers thing, I don't know if we were gonna get to that specifically, but like I don't think Jabril Peppers, like the fact that he hasn't found a job like 3 days before week one, I think does kind of speak to the fact that maybe he's either cashed or there's something else going on or whatever. He's not as good as he clearly thinks he is. But that one was another one where it's just like this guy at least is a, you know,
yeah,
league replacement body that you could use. He's a veteran. Like again, you're just like willingly reducing your depth, and putting a lot of faith in younger, more inexperienced guys, and maybe it turns out to be a great move. Like I think Vrabel and Stretch's player, what's the word? Like they're pretty good at finding talent or making right
acquisition.
decisions on personnel, but like so maybe they're ahead of the ball and we don't even realize it yet, and that'll become evident as the season gets started. But I think they are taking it slower than maybe I thought at first. And like I do technically agree with the idea that like they're going to be better. The floor is going to be, maybe they've moved up a story. It's not, I don't think the floor is a ton higher, but like they like I said last week, they're gonna be in just about every game. I think like they're not gonna.
They're in this room with me. Their floor has risen.
Yeah, exactly.
Not a
Right. That's
lot,
what,
just
yeah.
slightly, just enough to inconvenience me.
Like I guess I would be shocked if there's another like Chargers game. You know what I mean? Like that Chargers game was that around Christmas or something. Or maybe like that was that Saturday game, the NFL Network game. It was pissing rain. They just got their asses whooped. I think it was the Chargers. Um, and it was just like, good God. Like I don't think that's gonna happen a ton. I think they're gonna be competitive. I think they're gonna have a much higher level of aptitude and relatively speaking. I just don't think the talent's there. They'll win one or two games. Like I could see like that Pittsburgh game being like they just stuff Aaron Rodgers in a locker or something. It's like, all right, this is something we can build on. And then they come out the next week and they score 6 points. And it's like, okay, maybe we're not there yet. I think that it's just going to be like that type of season for them. And the more I think about it, like getting to 8 or 9 wins just feels like Mike Vrabel coach of the year territory if they get to that based on what the roster is.
Well, the thing with the bad schedule is that I feel like people often forget is all
They're
teams
bad.
have bad schedules. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, I mean, like the Patriots are looking at their schedule saying this is a look at this crap. On the other side, the Patriots are one of those crap teams
Yeah,
that the other team is
yeah.
looking at. So it's like, all right, crap is crap. It's crap for everybody. So you're part of the crap. Yeah, I mean, Mike, yeah, just continuing from last week, it's just all the stuff that I feel the best about, or at one time I felt the best about with each passing week. You know, I felt good about Drake May, have not felt good about his development. I felt great about Morgan. Morgan Moses. You talk about a guy that you hear him talk, and you're like, I want to run through a wall.
Yes,
But you got to be on the field, and now you've got Christian Gonzalez. So it's like everything that I was like halfway optimistic about is now kind of just like gradually falling off the table. Where it's like, wait, what are we actually optimistic about for this season?
Yeah, and Mike, your point about this week specifically and Brock Bowers. I mean, they're going to be starting safety. You know, Jalen Hawkins is going to be starting. Craig Woodson, the 4th-round pick, who's a rookie, like he's probably going to be starting. Del Pettis, like those are the starting safeties. And that used to be obviously different scheme and everything, but that used to be like the group that you looked to as, wow, they are so deep, right? Like at safety, and it's just. For multiple reasons, Kyle Duggar is obviously not 100%, and Jabril Peppers isn't here anymore. And, like I said, the new scheme and everything, like it's a wildly different group. And, not that the Raiders are bursting with pass catchers, obviously Brock Bowers, Jacoby Myers, but it's not like they have, 3 1,000 yards receivers or anything like that. But it's going to be a tough matchup for the Patriots on the back end.
Jacoby Myers is a good example because like Jacoby Myers wants out of the Raiders, but like the Patriots would love to have a problem like Jacoby Myers or their receiving core. All right, we got a lot to cover. Any other thoughts on the Patriots? I mean, I guess Sean, I think you mentioned you'd be shocked if they won. Was that you or was that Michael?
I don't know if I'd be shocked if they won, but I don't think that they're going to win the game. I think they're going to start 0-1.
Yeah. What about you, Mike?
That's a good question. I'm just they're 2.5 point favorites. So basically Vegas is saying they're even in terms of talent. But it's also week 1, so it's hard for even Vegas to take a strong take or a strong stance. But I think they probably win. I don't know. Like maybe I'm speaking out of both sides of my mouth now, but like you probably get a little bit of a burst first home game, new head coach, May's second season. I think it's gonna take. I'm not totally sold on like the Pete Carroll of it all with the Raiders. So I think this week specifically, I think they find a way to win a game that we come back next week and everybody's talking about like, we saw glimpses of the division and but it didn't look pretty either. So
it's funny because it's two coaches who, in my opinion, like start off a lot stronger than they do at the end. Like it seems like their stays always kind of peter out.
Yeah.
So if they were playing independently, I'd be like, oh yeah, the Pete Carroll and Mike Vrabel, they'll both come out week 1 and look great. But something's got to give when they're playing each other. I feel like it's always the case with the two of them.
I have a lot more faith in Mike Vrabel still being that guy than I do Pete Carroll.
Yeah.
And like there is a possibility that Pete Carroll is just not washed, but it doesn't work the way it used to.
Yep.
Mhm.
100%.